Hello, welcome. My name is Barbara Gallios, and I am a teacher here at C5, right upstairs. I just came downstairs from 26 children between the ages of 3 and 5. Rearranging my schedule is not the problem. The problem is explaining to them where I'm going, why, and will I please come back very soon. So I'll keep it short so I can get back to them. I am a San Francisco resident, a San Francisco parent, and now a San Francisco early childhood educator. I'm in this field because I watched my daughter, who also went to C5 17 years ago, and her development was so amazing to me, and that investment, which was painful for us monetarily, but the investment in her early childhood education made her ready to progress and take charge of the opportunity of going to San Francisco public school. She was ready. And so then she went and she graduated from Ruth Salazota School of the Arts. She did very well. Now she's at Smith and she wants to be a pre-med major. But I want to say the most important thing is those first 5 years. And I could see it with her. That was the time when she became who she is and able to do the things that she does now. I think when you look at the neurology of it, the human brain is 1/4. When we're born, our brain is 1/4 of the size that it will be when we're an adult. And there are, scientists say every second there are 1 million neurological pathways made in the brain of a young child. And we know this is done not automatically, not by nature, but by interaction with the teachers and parents. And so all those neural pathways are going to be impacted by the quality of early childhood education. So that's why I went into this, because I know the importance. We want our children going into the K through 12 system. We want them to be ahead of the game, not starting behind the game. It's like the game children play, like, okay, if you come from this family, take a step ahead, that's your privilege. And if you are from that family, take a step ahead, this is how privileged you are. Well, we want all children to have the privilege of an early childhood education. We don't want to be sending them to our K through 12 schools without the hardware they need. I often say that teachers, early childhood educators, we help create the hardware of the brain. And all the other teachers can add, they're wonderful, I have total respect for them, but they can add all the software they want. But it's going to mean nothing if that hardware isn't there. So what we do is fundamental. Sociologists call us allo-parents. We're like a secondary parent. We work in partnership with the parents. I am with the kids from 8 or 9 in the morning till 6 at night, 5 days a week. That's a lot of time. I get 2 15-minute breaks and a 1-hour lunch break. That's a lot of time to be in a room with 26 3 to 5-year-olds and to be educated, aware of what I'm doing, constantly interacting with them in a positive way. It's exhausting. I've been a litigator in my prior life. I left that work to do the most important work there is to do. Because I know that the impact I make every day on these kids is gonna influence their whole life, their ability to form relationships, their ability to do well in school, So to keep it personal, we were going to ask you to think back to a time in your life when you had an early childhood experience or early childhood education, to think back on somebody who had a strong impact on you very early in your life, and to maybe share with us what that might be.
Let's see if this mic works.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you. So, one, I may take just a little longer to answer your question, but I just want to start off by saying I know what we're up against. And someone who my mother worked for Head Start, and I learned at an early age the importance of early education when I was the chair of the Personnel and Labor Committee for the Board of Education, and we were fighting for increased opportunities to make sure we did a better job in teacher recruitment and retaining our educators. And Stanford did some research on some of the things educators wanted to see for them to want to stay at our schools, wanted to stay in the district. And as I was flipping through the report, I didn't see any information on ECE educators and the feedback from ECE educators. And so I asked the question, what did you get from preschool teachers? What did you get from pre-K teachers? And they said they didn't even include them in the survey. So, one, I just want you to know what we're up against. And I had a major issue with that. I let the leadership of the district know. I've said it publicly on record that I don't think we should work with Stanford anymore because we should have people who understand all-encompassing the importance of education as a whole. And it starts from birth. And so I want you to know that you have an advocate. And just the last thing I'll say, because I do have to run, we have some things going on in the shipyard that I need to have a conference call. But the one thing I do want to say is, as we look at Prop C in June for early care and education, as we look at Prop G for increased wages for educators and for resources to address the achievement gap, as we look at Prop C to fight homelessness and provide resources for us to do that in the city, I see all of those as the will of the voters here in San Francisco. I see the importance of all of those initiatives. They passed. We worked hard to make sure that all of them passed so that we can have the resources to address all of those concerns across all three initiatives. And that's the same way I feel about the windfall dollars. I feel that those resources should go to support the very things that we've already fought for. It is incomprehensible and unfortunate that we have outside forces who are trying to tell us what to do with our resources here in San Francisco. And that's why we have the challenges for Prop G and the challenges for Prop C. And I'm pretty sure we're going to have the challenge for Prop C in November. With that said, I'm going to be advocating to make sure that resources go in these areas that the voters have said we want to happen in San Francisco. And so know that, understand that, and I know my colleagues, we're working together to come up with how we're going to do that and make that happen. But I'm glad to see everybody here. Thank you so much for having me. I wish I could stay longer, but we will be fighting together for resources because I know how disrespected our early educators are. I know how disrespected the field is, and it's so unfortunate because I'm a father, and having children, I know that the hardest time to be away from our children, of course, is when they're at their very vulnerable 0 to 5 age. But yet, the people who take care of our youngest children are not adequately compensated. And you couldn't be paid enough, teachers couldn't be paid enough, but it is ridiculous, the gap between our early educators and what educators receive as a whole. So I want you to know, I know that, understand that, and be fighting with President Yee and my colleagues to address that. And we have done that in San Francisco, but people are trying to take that away from us. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Raphael Mandelman, District 8 Supervisor, and I have a little bit of imposter syndrome up here because I know that all of you know more about this topic than I do, and so it's a little funny for me to be up here. But I did, and I've been racking my brain for some personal experiences that would compensate for my lack of knowledge. I do want to, first of all, I want to thank you for the work that you do around this issue. And I do want to thank our new board president, Norman Yee, for the extraordinary work he has done on these issues over many decades. I think, this is a time of tremendous opportunity in California and in San Francisco. Gavin Newsom ran on this issue in large part. We have a board president, again, who has been steeped in this issue and put an extremely ambitious measure on the ballot in June, which many of us worked on, all of you worked on, I think all of us, there was tremendous support for that, and it passed, and we are hoping we will be able to spend this money as the voters intended for it to be spent. But whatever happens with June Prop C, I think there's real will on the Board of Supervisors and in City Hall and maybe in the governor's office to take this conversation that, notwithstanding the fact that I am the least knowledgeable person about this in the room, I know this conversation has been going on for many decades and that people have been trying to create universal access to childcare in California and San Francisco for decades, and we just, we have to keep that, we have to get that done. The slide that struck me as so obvious and also so rotten, it was the line that said, the younger the child, the lower the pay. And again, least knowledgeable person in the room, even the least knowledgeable person in the room, I know that that is completely backwards. That all of the science that we know about is that the work you do on the 3-month-old or the 6-month-old or the 1-year-old is exponentially more important than what happens to the 4-year-old. And what happens to the 4-year-old is exponentially more important than the resources that are available for the 9-year-old. Because, your ability to deal with whatever adversity you may confront as you go further along in your life is shaped by what happened to you in those earliest experiences. And as your brain is forming, did you have the support that you needed to go in to life, which can be tough, a resilient individual? I think, for my own childhood, I don't really remember a ton of my early childhood, but I do know, and I also know that I had a weird, for those of you who live in my district, I had a, hi Jenny, hi Sandy, you know that I had sort of an odd childhood. I was, by adolescence, I was being raised by a whole bunch of people who were not my family. And was working my way around and asking folks to take me in and, sort of getting myself through middle school and high school in that way in households that were not, my own. But I know that in those early years, as screwed up as my mother may have been, I was still getting a lot of love and support and affirmation that set me up to be a resilient individual and be able to navigate that. And I know that the most important work that we do as a city, as a society, is to try to provide the support, the resiliency, the ability for all of these kids who were born in San Francisco to get as much of an opportunity going forward. And we can't do that without you. So again, I want to thank everybody. I see my City College friends in the back who've been doing this work for a long, long time. But to the educators, to the advocates, to the folks who train folks to be early childhood educators, I want to thank you for the work you do, and thank you for allowing this imposter to be here with you in the front of the room today.
Good evening, or good afternoon, or evening. Hi, everyone. Is this on? This is Jenny Lamb. Hi, my name is Jenny Lamb, the Education Advisor to Mayor Breed. First and foremost, I just want to thank you all for your tireless work and just being the true champions and just warriors of this work. You may know that I was actually involved in the early days of the creation of the Early Care Educators of San Francisco. And I'm just so proud of being able to work with colleagues that are here in the room. And just wanted to also thank Supervisor Norman Yee for teaching me about early care and education and introducing me to the field. So thank you for continuing that championing of your work. This is very personal, if you can't sense it in my tone. As a mother of two who are now, they're in teenagers and adolescents, I still remember the first day I dropped off my daughter to a stranger who was a family care provider. She was 8 weeks old, and it was a year before the state of California passed the Family Leave Act, and I had to get back to work. And it was heartbreaking to be able to have to leave my 8-week-old baby to someone I didn't know, and really entrusted that provider, and who, I just hoped took a leap of faith that she was going to be well cared for. And that's really, I think, the story here, right, is that the providers, the teachers, the staff just are taking care of like the most precious lives. We've had the full gamut of experience as parents. We went from family care to a center-based experience, and then with my youngest, he went to an independent, provider, and so we've had the whole experience. And so I carry that experience every day, and just know that this is personal, and to be able to be in a space now working with Mayor Breed and really being able to lift up the issues that the field is currently facing and will continue to face, and really hearing from you that it is imperative that the workforce gets the support that they deserve, that you deserve, and how that really just intersects with economic stability, how that links to housing and really the most basic needs. So really acknowledging that you can't peel away the identities of everyday experiences in the lives of people and of parents. So just wanted to thank you for the invitation today. I really appreciate being able to share the personal story, because sometimes we kind of jump right into the needs, the problems, which are so evident in solutions and policies, but to also recognize that we all bring our stories to how we look at making these solutions realized.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Asha Kumar. I'm supervisor from District 11. I'll start off with answering the question about a personal experience. I was thinking back as others were talking. I ended up in a early child care center, and to this day, my best friend in the entire world, I call him my brother. I met him when I was 2 years old. He was the best man at my wedding. He is still in my life. And so my early memory of that center playing on, they would never do this today, the wheels that they have on the large dump truck, the trucks, that was our play structure in the yard with the grass. I have pictures next to me. I'm like, man, they would never allow that to happen. There's a lot of stuff, right? I still have the two little figures that we called Todd and Asha, and I lost them one day on the playground there, and somehow miraculously one of the kids must have put them back, and I still have those on my dresser. So I have a lot of fond memories, other than being forced to eat bananas. I couldn't go out and play unless I ate bananas, and I refused to eat my banana. But other than that, my brother, my best friend in the entire world, is the person that I met in preschool and early childcare. And I'm a father, as Jenny. I have two small children. I can remember dropping my daughter off the first day. My wife was like, "What's wrong?" I was like, I need to go now. And I went in the car, tears in my eyes. I was like, I can't believe I'm leaving my daughter with complete strangers. And I remember saying to the director and to her, the teacher for her, saying, please don't let anyone walk off with my daughter. She's too nice to everybody. I know she's going to get kidnapped. Please. That was my biggest fear. But of course, that was never realized, and the teachers at Marin Day were amazing, and we were so lucky. So when I ran for office, even before I was in office, we made a priority of helping the largest child care center in the entire city, Mission Child Care Consortium, own their site. Started a petition drive. We went around door to door. We talked to folks and said they're paying $27,000 a month in rent. These children, families pay either $0 to $50 a month. These mothers would not. It's mainly mothers, right? Because they're the primary care, but mainly in these situations, the mothers. These parents could not go to work otherwise without this opportunity. 224 children. When I got into office, within the first 90 days, Mayor Lee and I were able to close that deal, $5.5 million deal. That's one of my proudest accomplishments of my entire life. my district office is in that location. So I'm there every Friday. I see the families coming in with the kids, and it brings me nothing but joy to know that these families have a secure, safe place, like I did. So that's what I think of: secure, safe, healthy educational environment. I've done a lot of work with First Five. They've really tried to improve their opportunities for the children and families. So after Marin Day, we ended up at the Crayon Box. We were at a Spanish immersion preschool. It was absolutely phenomenal. Felt like an extension of our own family, bless you. And the kids got to learn from, teachers from Peru and Ecuador and Mexico and all over the world, learning in their native tongue and cultural practices. And so my son to this day only wants to have quesadillas and burritos. No matter what, that's the default. Like the teacher spoiled him, and no matter what's on the menu,